Hello everyone, welcome back to SFDC Panther. My name is Amit Singh, and from this video onwards, we are going to start our auto launch flows. So before we go ahead, please do like, share, subscribe the channel, and also press the bell icon so that you don't miss any update from us. So in this video, we will talk about what are auto launch flows, what are the different type of auto launch flows. Then we will implement a scenario, and then from next video onwards, we will talk about the other type of auto launch flow. So auto launch flows, as its name indicates, right? It is these kind of flows are automatically launched based on some conditions or based on some evaluations that we are doing. It can be kind of condition, or we can launch these flows from our process builder as well as from our record triggered flows as well. For example, if you wanted to create, insert, update, or delete any other records, we wanted to query some records, we wanted to make some callouts, we wanted to call some Apex classes, we can use these auto launch flows. These are the different type of auto launch flows. The very first flow is auto launch flow, which says that non-triggered flow. Okay, this is what we are going to see here today. Then we have got record triggered flows. It basically triggers based on some insert or update or deletion on our particular object records. And these are of two types: before save and after save. We will see how these before save and after save works, and which one is basically more important, or we say that more fast and reliable for us. We will also see how the schedule triggered flows works. Those are also auto launch flows where we can schedule the flow to run on a frequency. And then we have platform event trigger. This is again a very important, and we will talk about a complete new experience on this platform event trigger, and we will talk about a complete new framework which is going to be error handling framework. So we talk about how to basically handle the errors and how to log those errors using our platform events as well as these auto launch flows. Now let's talk about the scenario that we are going to implement here is we are going to do basically two things using our auto launch flows. One is whenever an account is created, we have to create a task under that particular account. What all details we need to have, or we need to have that for creating a account, is the subject of a task is called. The due date is going to be the today's date plus 7 date on whatever the current date we have. The description of a task is going to be the same as the description of our account. The related to, who is going to be the related to of that particular task, is going to be the record ID of account. Then who is going to be the owner for that particular task is again the owner ID of our account who is creating the record. The other scenario that we are going to do here is whenever an account is created, we need to do a chatter notification to the account under that particular account itself. And this is the detail that we need to say. We need to say the account, the name of the account has been created by the name of the owner who has created and on the created date. So this is the message we need to post on the account chatter notification. And both the scenarios must be completed, or must be only completed whenever the account is created. If the account is updated or something happens, we don't need to do that. So let's quickly see how we can do this. The very first thing that we have to do is we have to create the flows, because we will create a login auto launch flows, and then after once we have that auto launch flow ready with us, then only we will talk about the process builder from where we can invoke our flow. So this time if you see here, we have got auto launch flow no trigger. This is what we are going to display. So we will say, basically we are going to use this flow. So we will select OK and then click on next. You can select whatever the layout you want. Now there are a couple of things that we needed. First thing, the account which has been created. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on variable, and we have to get the account ID from where we will get whatever the resource is going to invoke our particular flow. So we will say that okay, this is going to be our account ID, and variable is going to be of type text, and make sure it is available for input, so that whenever we are using this flow, we can send the value to this particular variable account ID, and then click on done. Next thing, we will be needing multiple values of account, like the date, the owner, the created by, all these details we need. So what we will do is, the very first thing, we will add a get records element over here so that we can get the account details. So we will say that get account details. object is going to be account, that is what we are working on. Condition here we will say that okay, where id equals to account id, the variable that we have just created. Store only the one record because that is what we are going to get based on this condition, and store all the fields so that whatever the field we need we can quickly use those, and then click on done. And then again just go ahead and add a fault path. We will add the errors later on. Once we have got these account details, what we have to do is we have to create a task. That is what the first step is. So let's quickly add a task over here. What we will do is we will say create records. That is what we have to do, and we will say that create a task. We will create one object. We want to use separate resources, so we'll select OK. And then what object we need to create is a task object, and this is where we need to provide the multiple values. First thing, the subject was of type that was call. Okay, then we have got activity date, we will talk about later on. We've got related to, okay, which is related to id. What is that? Account id. Then we've got owner id. This is assigned to id. Okay, who is going to be the owner? That is going to be the owner for our account, so we'll say that account dot owner id. We'll select here. Then what we had is we have description. We'll select description, and then from where we will get say that account dot description. And then let's add one more thing, which is going to be status, and let's make it as high. Sorry, not started. Then one more thing, priority. This we will say it is going to be high. One field we are still missing, which says that activity date, and whose value should be today's date plus 7. So if we try to add this activity date over here, and we say that okay, we have got the flow, and then we say that current date, and here if you try to add this 7, so you are getting this error, right? It says that doesn't recognize. What you have to do is have to delete this, undone. You have to create one more resource of formula type, because what we have to do is, let's quickly say here, we will create a formula, and we will say that today plus 7. Okay, and what is the data type? It is going to be of type date, and this is going to be our formula. Whatever the current date is there, and then plus 7. We will just go ahead and click on done now. Again, get back to your create record element, edit this, and this time we will assign our activity date. So here what we will do is we will say okay, we have got today plus 7, and this time it won't give us any error, and click on done. Once that is done, just go ahead and add a fault path over here. So this is again for our next thing, that what we need to do is we need to have a chatter notification on the account home page. So for that we will create, okay, click on this add element and then select action. We already have an inbuilt action which says that post to chatter. Okay, this is provided by Salesforce, and these are the core actions. We'll just go ahead and give the label, the message, what message we wanted to give we have already talked about, but the target id is going to be our account id. Under that account we wanted to post. Okay, and then what message is going to be there? So we'll say that the account has been created, the account, and here we need to give the account name, right? So how we will do that? So first thing what we need is we need the account name, so we will say that okay, just have that account name over here. Then what we need is we need created date. Okay, so we can have here, say, we have to basically put the formulas here. So how you will put that formula? This is the first thing, account name. Let's quickly put it somewhere in our text pad. So I have got this for account name. Then I need the created date as well, so I'll select okay. Let me have the created date. I'll just copy this as well. Then I need the created by username. Okay, so select created by id, and then we will say that name, full name. Okay, so this is what we need. Now what we'll do is we'll prepare, okay, we'll say that the account, and this is the name of account, and we will say that has been created by, and here we will say that the name of our who has created the account, and we will say that on, this is the date when the account has been created. Now our complete message is prepared. We'll just go back and paste it over here. So this is our message that we needed. We will just go ahead and click on done. Then again just add a fault path, so that if there are any error we can just go ahead and quickly add those error screens. Okay, so now what we will do is we will add the error screen over here. We will not be able to add. Why? Because this is not an error screen, not a screen flow. This is an auto launch flow. Auto launch flow means there is no user interaction. You cannot see any screen or anything. So you have added this fault path. Now what you can do here is, if you want to again try something, say that just try whatever account, getting the account details or not, so you can do that. You will not do that, just go ahead and save this, and we will see here. Okay, let's quickly say that so we have given the label, say that create task on account record, and click on save. You might be wondering what thing we can have here as a part of error handling. So here what we can do is we can create the error object. We can create the object for that, or we can some sort of launch a platform event from here and handle in some separate flow. We will talk that later on. For now, let's let it be like this. Okay, now what we have to do is, first let's quickly debug this. What happens? We'll go ahead and click on debug. It takes the account ID, right? So what we will do is, we'll say run flow in rollback mode, or let it be. To give the account ID, we will just copy this and take the account ID. This is our account ID. Paste it over here on the account ID as an input parameter and click on run. So it says that it has been completed. And if you say here post to chatter, this is the ID. If you say that create a task, this is the ID. That means our flow has been completed. And if you see, this is the yellow line. This yellow line tells us how our flow is processing. Okay. If you say that debug again and try to remove this input, we might see some different line on the flow. You see here what it says. Our flow, our yellow line says, okay, go to the get records. We didn't find anything, but says flow doesn't throw any error. We come back to the create record, and then it went to the fault path. You see here the flow line, and that's what it says, that okay, invalid class reference key. The owner ID can't be blank. That is what we are getting over here. So that means our flow is working fine. We can just do the edit flow again. We can get come back here. And if we want to do the refresh on the account to see if the contact has, oh sorry, the task has been created, you can just go ahead, refresh this page. So you see here it says that you have an upcoming task that we have created today with the subject of call, and this is whatever we have, right? Priority high, whatever the date, status, related to, comments, which is basically description. So these are the details related to the comments, sorry, related to the task that we have. And if you talk about activity, we talk about the feed, we don't have that feed component over here to see if that feed has been created or not. So to see the feed, we have to add, I will just add that feed you might already have. So if you don't know, just go ahead and edit this flow. Click on, click on this gear icon and click on edit page. So here we wanted to add our chatter, right? Chatter feed. So you can just go ahead and find chatter feed and drag and drop wherever you want this chatter feed component from your left to your canvas where you can just draw. It will ask what is going to be the feed type. We will say that it is a record and we will save it. And the changes were saved. We'll get back to our record page and we will see, even you can see over here. So we will also see that on the record detail page that the message is getting posted by our flow. You can see here it says that the account is communication mule1 has been created on this particular date, whatever the created date of our account is. After we have tested this, we will go ahead and activate this flow, and this flow can be referred from our record triggered flows as well as from our process builder. So for this video, what we will do is we will create a process builder, and process builder is going to sit on account object, and whenever the account is created, we will invoke our flow in order to do all this processing. We are just showing this, the process builder, although Salesforce has announced that process builder are going to be deprecated by 2023, but for this tutorial purpose, it is okay. So we will say that task on account. When they start processing, a record changes. We will click on save. The object we have to choose, our object is account, and it will only when a record is created. That is when we want. We have to do the criteria. So we will say that no criteria, because there is no criteria for us. We will just select the third option and click on save. For the immediate action, what we have to do is we will select a flow. So from this drop down list, you will find a flow under email alerts. Just select flow, and here you can see here create task. This is your flow that you have just created. We'll just copy and put the action name as same as the flow name. and set flow variables. Okay, so just go ahead and click on this add row. You will find a variable which is account ID that you have enabled as input. Type is going to be reference so that we can find our account ID, and we will say here record ID. No, it should be account ID. Got this account ID and API name is ID. Go ahead and click on choose. Then again go ahead and save this. Once you have done this, go ahead and activate your process so that we can test it by creating an account. So this is our account. Let me see if I clone this. Okay, I don't have option for cloning this account, so I will just go ahead, create one account over here. It is asking me to select the record type. If you have, just select the record type, otherwise just click on next. And then here it will ask us to give the account name, so I'll just give whatever the account name I wanted to have. So I'll say it is basically going to be google.com or Google Incorporations. Select that, and it will autofill few of the fields for me, including address and all. I'll just go ahead and save this. Okay, it says that the field is required, which is annual revenue. So let's quickly say whatever the Google annual revenue is, and then save this. So the account Google Incorporation was created. We got this chatter notification which says that okay, the account has been created on this. Okay, created by, we are not able to see that created by name over here. We see that on, we have whatever the data we are getting. Okay, and then if you scroll down, you get that there is a task. You click on this arrow icon, you see here there is no description, nothing, because in the account there was no description. That's why we are not able to see the description. But if you want to see the description as well, you can try to create one more account. This time let's quickly create one more, whatever the record type I have, and then I'll select Facebook. And this time what we have to do is this field is required, so I'll just put some random values and we will say whatever is. Let's say that Facebook. So I've just given say I have just said that Facebook, a social media giant. We'll save this. You can see here the account has been created which says that Facebook, and then we got this particular message. We're not getting basically that particular created by name. I'll show you why we are not getting. And then this is the call, and if you see here, this time you got this particular description, whatever the description that you have given under the account. This created by is not getting. So if you want to make sure you are getting this created by, what you can do is just go there on the resources, create a variable, and you say that created by name, select type of text, make sure it is available for input, click on done, click on save as from the top right, select a new version and save this. Now your chatter notification, and then you have to edit this element which is chatter notification. Edit that, and here whatever you have got has been created by, it says that get account details dot created by dot name. So here what you can do is you can have your variable which was, and the variable name is created by name, so you can say that okay, created by name, then click on done. So by doing this, what it will do is your process builder will ask two variables now. So just go ahead, clone this process builder again, click on save, and this time for this, just click on this add row. You will see there is, okay, we don't see, so we have to get back to our view all process, refresh this page. Once we refresh, then only we will see the updated variables from the flow, and from here we can pass that created by name. So open, this is the flow that we have. Okay, we open the active version. Just click on this arrow and open whatever the inactive is. Number 2 is inactive, and then select your immediate action, click on add row, and then we have to find out this created by name. We will say it is a field reference, and from here what we will have is we will find a created by, this created by ID, and we'll say here if we have this name. So we don't have that name, right? So we'll say that okay, let's say that first name, and then click on choose, and then just go ahead, activate this. Sorry, we don't need to clone, we need to activate. I will again go ahead and create one more account of name Amazon or something else. So I've got this account, and then we don't have any description this time. We have already seen that description is populating. So just go there, click on the save button. You can see here now this says that the name amazon.com has been created by this by Amit on this particular date. Okay, so basically that is how your auto launch flows work. Most of the time in the real time scenarios, we're calling these auto launch flows from our record triggered flow because we are replacing process builders from them. Okay. So this is it for this video. Thank you for your time. And if you have any scenario, please feel free to send that scenario to us via email, which is there in the description of this video. So in the next video, we are going to talk about record triggered flows, where we'll talk about before save record triggered flows. So we will meet into the next video. Before you go ahead, please do like, share, subscribe the channel. Thank you.